What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show podcast. My name's Kyle. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving as well. We're going a different schedule this week. We're going live today at 2 p.m. because I'm not going to be able to do any live streams on Thursday. Probably not on Saturday, but we'll be back on Sunday morning for you guys if you need it. So we're going to hang out for the next 20 minutes, half an hour or so, get any questions you guys needed answered, and we'll kind of just go over the news and everything. So Bill, my man, I appreciate you. I appreciate this comment, man. That makes me feel good. So thank you. I'm glad I'm able to help you guys with your fantasy football lineups. Good afternoon to Aiden. What's up, Jerry? We got Ryan in here as well. And then we got Christian hopping in here with the first question: Chiefs defense or Washington defense? So one of my favorite things that I have on the fantasyfellowship.com is it's the spreads and the implied total chart here. So I think both defenses are good plays this week. But what I like to look for is so this is filtered by team total. So Bills projected to score almost 32 points. Down here at the bottom, the Rams, they're supposed to score under 15. The Texans are a pretty bad matchup. So it's looking like the Chiefs are the matchup that you want to pick in this one. It sounds like Bryce Perkins is going to be starting for them. So they're down to their third string QB, no Cooper Kupp. It's at Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City put up 5 sacks on the Chargers last weekend and had 2 turnovers. I think it's looking really good for the Chiefs. I do like Washington, but the Falcons are here at about 18.75, so I think the numbers are safer with the Chiefs. Take the Chiefs at home. Seahawks kicker, a good start. I think so. I don't put the stats up there for kickers, but there is I use FF Today sometimes. Otherwise, Pro Football I'm trying PFF, I think, might have it. But either way, I like looking at the fantasy points allowed to the kickers. And the Raiders probably, let's see, the Raiders, where are the Raiders? Why can't I read? The Raiders they allow about 6 points per game to the kicker, so it's not a great spot for Myers, but it's a home game. I do think that there's going to be touchdowns had in that game, so I think it's a good start. Not a great start, but it's a fair, solid one at home there. Geno to Fields. Geno or Fields? I mean, I think this week you want to go with Geno Smith. The fantasy points allowed stats dictate that the Raiders, they allow a ton of fantasy points here. They rank 28th. They allow almost 95 points per game. They're bright green against QBs, running backs. Good matchup for Geno, Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and the guys there. So I think it's Geno. And the Bears, I mean, they're going up against the Jets. The Jets they're a good defense. They're a legit top 10 defense right now in almost every category. So with not only just the injury, the shoulder, the non-throwing shoulder for Fields, but he's going up against a really good defense. So I'm going to say Geno Smith is your guy. I was able to grab Miami D and Denver D. I think you preferred Miami D. I think this week I prefer Miami. You're going to get Kyle Allen this week. They moved on from Davis Mills, so it's not a great spot for Houston. Again, they're projected to score the second fewest points this week, so it's a good spot to start Miami. They're at home. I think good things can happen. I do like Denver, but Carolina's weird, man. They look good every now and then, and with Sam Darnold coming back, maybe there's a slight spark there. I do think that's going to be a low-scoring game, but man, I trust the Dolphins' defense against the Texans. Let's go with let's go with Miami. I need a flex start, full PPR, McLaurin, ETN, or Christian Watson. Thank you. So I mean, if we're just looking purely at matchups here, Terry McLaurin's got the best matchup that he's going to have all season. Going up against the Falcons, it's at home against the Falcons. They allow the second most PPR points to the wide receiver position. He's got a pretty nice boost lately from Taylor Heineke, so I think the guy you want, and because it's full PPR, Terry McLaurin could have upwards of 5, 6, 7 catches. That feels really safe. I do like Travis Etienne. I always like Etienne, but going up against Baltimore, it's a tougher matchup. Baltimore's been a pretty good defense lately here, so I think if you're just going to play matchups, it's likely that it's McLaurin, and I would probably rank them Terry, Etienne, Christian Watson. PPR, Jamal, Swift, White, Murray. So I was looking around for Leonard Fournette news. There's a link here that says Todd Bowles will ride the hot hand at his running back. So I'm not sure what's going on here. We're going to see. It does say that Todd Bowles noted that Fournette is still sore from the hip pointer. He did not commit to Fournette playing this week. So to me, I think you got to take advantage of this injured Leonard Fournette. Tampa Bay at home, or it's in Cleveland. Tampa Bay going up against Cleveland. They allow the second most PPR points to the running back position. I think Rachaad White's your guy. Especially if Leonard Fournette's out, man. Even if he plays, I still think it looks really good for Rachaad White. He had the 100-yard rushing game against the Seahawks. So he's probably the guy I'm most comfortable with. Otherwise, I'm going to rank them White, Jamal, Murray, Swift. And Njoku, I'm not too worried about Njoku. Njoku's got a good matchup this week. Let me show you here. Going up against Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay's kind of a funnel defense. They allow a handful of wide receiver and tight end points. If we pull up the PFF routes run week 11, let's look at this chart here, and I'll show you guys what we're looking at. Let's see. So Njoku, they kind of eased him back in, which I'm not overly concerned. Like, he didn't lose his job or anything. Essentially, only 28 snaps. Harrison Bryant saw 55, 19 routes run, 29 for Harrison Bryant. 3 targets, though. That's a good percentage enough for Njoku there. So I think you're probably going to see this gap close this weekend. I think Njoku going to have a much better game. And he looked good. That's the thing, is when he got that one nice catch where he made the big leap, he looks good. And I'm just glad he was able to come through without the injury. So I'm cool with Njoku. Gibson or Rachaad White. That one's tougher. We do like Gibson this week here. I think he's kind of taking back over that backfield over there. As far as the matchup goes, it's Atlanta. Atlanta presents a nice green matchup here for us. They've allowed 10 rushing touchdowns on the year and 2 receiving. So it's a solid matchup here, but I think I'm going to go with Rachaad White. Because both those games are on Sunday, Christian, let's see. If I'm leaning Rachaad White off the top of my head right now, if Fournette's out, then it's Rachaad White all the way. So I'm going to lean White, and we'll get that in. We'll get basically a good insurance if Fournette's out. So I'm going to go there. Good afternoon to Harris. Hope you're doing well. Colts kicker or Miami kicker? I think the Colts kicker might be a good spot here. That's a home game, I believe. Let me double check here. Is that a home game for the Colts? Colts at home against Pittsburgh. It's going to be a tighter game here. I kind of like the Colts kicker here. Pittsburgh's defense is good. They might be able to keep them out of the red zone. I do like Matt Ryan to move the ball. I'm thinking I prefer the Colts kicker because we expect Miami to score touchdowns, probably not field goals. So I'll go with the Colts kicker. And I should have pulled that back up here. Lazard or Raheem Mostert PPR. It's a fantastic spot for the running backs there in Miami going up against Houston. So I think Mostert's got a really nice matchup, and he's probably looking at double-digit carries, a good chance at a rushing touchdown as well. That game's probably going to be done by halftime, if not the third quarter. So we should see Raheem Mostert get plenty of touches in this one. Whereas Allen Lazard going up against Philadelphia, Philadelphia, they were a much better team against the wide receivers earlier in the year. They're starting to give up some points. Last week, we saw Michael Pittman Jr. Have a decent floor game. We saw Paris Campbell. Alec Pierce was making plays. So I do think you can make plays on the Philadelphia secondary. But I'll say this. Lazard has been pretty solid this year. I kind of want to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's really, I don't know who Darius Slay is going to be on. Is he going to be matched up against Watson? Will he be mostly on Lazard? I'm not quite sure there. So I'm gonna lean towards Lazard, but Raheem Mostert's a little bit of a safer play there. PPR, Pittman or Watson. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Christian Watson. It's a tough matchup for him this week going up against Philadelphia. Whereas you look at the Steelers up here, they're allowing the most wide receiver points here. They've allowed 14 touchdowns in just 10 games, 134 catches, over 2,000 yards. If Michael Pittman's going to get back in the end zone, it's going to be this Monday night. So I'm going to lean Michael Pittman. I think he's got the safer floor, and he's got a pretty good ceiling this week to dominate. And you talk about what T. Higgins did last week against this Steelers secondary. Had a great game. He didn't score a touchdown, but he dominated. He ended up with like 24 PPR points. So I'm going to lean Michael Pittman Jr. Half PPR, Chris Olave or Amari Cooper rest of season. I think I mean, that's a pretty good deal if it's straight up, or if you're trying to trade for someone here. I'm gonna go with Amari Cooper because you're getting Deshaun Watson back next week, which could boost things for Cooper. And Cooper's been really, really good this season. I mean, we're kind of splitting hairs here, but I think Amari Cooper's been playing maybe the best football of his career. Right now, he's wide receiver 10 on the year, Olave wide receiver 11. I think I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson in that one. But I do think the only way Olave could win that deal is if they put Jameis Winston back in there, because that's where, a lot of the deep shots are going to come. It's really close, but I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. Ryan says AK-41, Pierce, Jeff, Rashad, pick 2. So thankfully, none of these guys play on Thanksgiving. So we'll have more data points here. Now, Alvin Kamara going up against the San Francisco 49ers. That makes me a little bit nervous. I don't really like what we've been seeing. Let me see if I can pull up AK's numbers here. So he is currently RB14 on the season. Last week, 12.9. The last 3 games have been pretty subdued, no touchdowns, so maybe he's due, but it's the 49ers. That's a tough matchup. I think you got to go with Jeff and Rashad White. And I'll say this, if I'm going to say Jeff is probably your best bet, take advantage of that Texans matchup. If there's no Leonard Fournette, go with Rashad White. If Leonard Fournette's somehow healthy, I'm okay with AK-41, and we're just not thinking about Pierce, but I think Jeff and Rashad White are your guys. Well, if Lenny plays, I'm not stuck with Murray. That's the risk. Well, if Lenny plays, let's see here. Even if Leonard Fournette plays, I don't think he's going to be a big factor. Let's see here. Thoughts on this trade? My team will be okay. So you're getting Geno, Barkley, Mostert, Judy for Stevenson, Amari Cooper, and Debo. So your team will be Kirk, Chubb, Stevenson, Jamar, Debo, Frymouth, Amari Cooper, Marquise Brown after the trade. So you're getting Stevenson, Cooper, and Debo. That's the side that I want. I like Geno, but you have Kirk Cousins there, so I don't think it's necessary to have both. Barkley's a good running back, but I feel pretty safe with going to Stevenson. And then Amari Cooper is a massive upgrade from Judy. And then you get Debo. Like, this is a slam dunk, my man. Stevenson, Cooper, and Debo. I think that's a really good deal for you. Do I start Pollard or Aaron Jones? That's tough, man. It's a good matchup for Aaron Jones. The Eagles not very good at stopping the run. The chances of Aaron Jones having a 6 or 7 point game, it could happen any given week. But I think lately, you see, 4 of the last 5 games, he's been pretty good. So I think I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. Zeke another week back healthy. The Giants defense is pretty solid. So I think it's really close, but I'm going to lean Aaron Jones. They need him. They need Aaron Jones if they're going to be successful on Sunday night. Do I start Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert in the same lineup? If I don't hate it. I think both guys are probably going to get double-digit touches. They both can score touchdowns. I think it's a smart play this week. If you don't have a really steady RB2, I'm cool with Raheem. My RB1 and 2 are ETN and Kenneth Walker. RB1 and 2 are ETN and Kenneth Walker. In that case, I'm going to rank these guys. Like, you're starting Kenneth Walker. I might rank Aaron Jones and Pollard ahead of ETN. I do like Travis Etienne, but on paper, he's got probably the worst matchup going up against Baltimore. Again, he had 10 points against Kansas City, which is fine. The 25 and the 26, I don't know if he's going to be this productive, but I think getting Pollard I think it's between Pollard and it's between Pollard and Etienne for me. I'll give a slight advantage to Etienne because we know he's getting all the touches. Maybe Zeke gets involved in this one. So I think sitting Pollard, it's tough, man. That's a tough situation, but I think we sit Pollard. Should be concerned about both Saquon and Lamar due to their situations. I'm not overly concerned about Saquon. Last week was really the first bad game he had all year. If that continues, I'd be nervous. Now, the thing that I just want to get this ahead out. Dallas, Washington, Philly, Washington. Like, Washington's one of the better rushing teams in the league. They don't allow a lot of points to the running back. So the schedule could get tougher for the Giants here. We see some turbulence against the Lions, which is not great. They should have destroyed the Lions on the ground here. So I'm slightly concerned about Saquon. As far as Lamar, I mean, if we take away his top his first 3 games of the year, Lamar Jackson just has not been a really good quarterback. You look at the 20, the 42, and the 39, like, It's been he's only had one game over 20 points in that span. I don't think of him as a top 5 QB in fantasy the rest of the season. He's more of like a top 10, top 12 guy. So I think there is slight concern for both guys. The good news, though, is Lamar gets Jacksonville this weekend, and then after the Denver game, he gets a really nice schedule of Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta, Pittsburgh. I like the finish there for Lamar. So if we can get through Denver, you're in good shape there. Harris says Pacheco, Jeff, or Piron non-PPR. I have Mixon. Even if Mixon's out, it's a tough matchup for Pirine. You can see the Titans, one of the best teams against the running back. Teams are throwing on them at will. So it's a tough matchup for Pirine. I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson and Pacheco. And I would rank them Jeff, Pacheco, Pirine, if no Mixon. Can I trade Jamal Williams and A.J. Brown for Saquon? I would prefer – I guess I think I'm going to hold on to Jamal Williams and A.J. Brown. I think I stay with those guys because A.J. Brown, now that Dallas Goedert's out, I really like the scarcity of targets there. It's going to be heavy Devonta, heavy A.J. Brown. I think I keep those guys. Again, I like Saquon Barkley, but there's signs of him slowing down. I'd rather stick with Jamal Williams. He's been one of the best surprises of the season right now. I mean, you have Jamal Williams here, RB13. The dude's just been a touchdown machine. Look at the touches here. You're getting a pretty steady guy. His floor is sure about 7 points, but I'm going to stick with Jamal Williams and A.J. Brown. Pittman or Jamal. I'll go Michael Pittman in that one. Again, I like Jamal Williams, but Pittman's got the best matchup that he's got of the entire season. He's probably a top-ranked wide receiver this weekend, and I'm going to roll with Pittman. Tom Brady's worth a pickup for sure. If you're in a 1 QB league and it's a 10 or 12 man league like Tom Brady, rest of season, his schedule, I would be trying to acquire Rachaad White, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tom Brady. Look at this schedule the rest of the way. It's Cleveland, New Orleans, San Francisco, Cincinnati, and then he finishes at Arizona and Carolina. So you can pass on all of these teams here. I think the toughest game is going to be San Francisco, but I think Tampa Bay, they could go on a run and finish the season strongly here and win the NFC South. Good afternoon, Trey. Large question incoming. Full PPR, start 3. Boyd, Zeke, Juju, Carter, Rachaad White. Thanks and happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm super thankful for having an audience here on YouTube. If you guys are new to the channel, you should definitely subscribe. That would be great. We're trying to hit that 600 mark. But anyways, with this full PPR question, the two that stick out are Michael Carter and Rachaad White. I love both of those guys this week. And with the news that Mike White is he's going to be starting. Mike White, who knows for how long, but I think he had 3 games last year. He just targeted the running back heavily. Michael Carter had some of the best games of his career with Mike White. So Carter, full PPR, yes, please. It's also a great matchup. The Chicago Bears defense gives up a lot of points to the RB. And then I'm going to say Rachaad White. Those are the 2 for sure. And then after that, like Boyd, Zeke, Juju, we have question marks on all of those guys here. So based on matchup, I do like Juju going up against the Rams. He shouldn't be matched up on Ramsey very often. So I'm thinking Juju's the lead here. I'd rather play Juju over Boyd. There was video clips circulating of Jamar Chase at practice today. So if he does play, that's going to lower Tyler Boyd's ceiling. And then with Ezekiel Elliott, basically it's like, do you think he's going to score a touchdown? If so, then he's probably going to be a decent fantasy play. But I'm going to rank them Juju, Zeke, Boyd for your final spot. Let's start Carter and Rachaad White. Dak or Tua, and then Kyler or Dak. I like Dak's matchup against the Giants here, but you got to go with Tua going up again. And I know the Texans are pretty stingy against the quarterback here, but you got to roll with Tua. I think in this matchup at home against the Texans, they should be scoring points. And then Kyler or Dak. Well, because we don't know if Kyler is going to play. I know there was some recent tweets about some positivity about Kyler Murray playing, but it sounds like he's expected back. Kyler said he expected to start Sunday. I feel good. So if you believe this and trust it, I'm cool with Kyler Murray over Dak. I think that's where we'll stand. Jeff says, who would you flex this week? Palmer, Hollywood, Pickens, or Patterson? That's a good group to pick from. I'm not super excited about Cordero Patterson. I think he's kind of flimsy and hard to trust. Palmer, though, Palmer looked really good the other night. in his matchup going up against who are the Chargers playing? The Chargers against the Cardinals. Cardinals defense is not great, so Palmer's got a safe floor. But you also have George Pickens there, who's George Pickens has been. I mean, if you have to own a Steelers receiver, I want Pickens over Deontay Johnson. Let's look at George's last handful of games. Now, it is a tough matchup going up against the Colts, but 18 and 14, he's had touchdowns in back-to-back games. He's had touchdowns in 3 of his last 4 games. I'm not sure what happened with the 0 game against Philly, but I think right now George Pickens is the hot hand. If you wanted to wait this one out, if Hollywood Brown plays, I'm cool with Marquise Brown, but I think I'm going to rank these guys as Pickens, Hollywood, Palmer. That's how I will rank them. I think Pickens is probably the guy I'm going to go with. Do I start Pollard or James Conner at flex? Oh man, that's tough. I really do like the matchup for James Conner this week. He's going up against the Chargers. They're giving up a ton of points to the running back. So with Kyler coming back, it's a good matchup for Conner. I think the hot hand though with Tony Pollard makes a lot of sense. I don't think we're going to see him as good as he was last week. But 2 of the last handful of games, Pollard's been on fire. I'll say this: I like Pollard. I think James Conner is probably the guy I trust, though, to have a really good matchup against the Chargers. And again, if Kyler Murray's back, let me just hit the projections tab here. They have Conner projected for about 17, Pollard down here at about 13. I'm gonna say James Conner. Don't be mad at me if Pollard has a good game tomorrow, because I do think James Conner's gonna have a good game. But either way, you have 2 good options there, man. Start 2: ETN, Jeff, Lenny, Rashad White, or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go with Jeff and Rashad White. We've talked about those guys a lot. Great matchup for Jeff. Good matchup for Rashad White. I think I'm going to lean into those matchups. Who would you trade Barkley for? If you're trading Saquon Barkley away, essentially he's going to get you another RB1. If you can buy, like if someone's like, Christian McCaffrey's not getting the touches, like I would go get Christian McCaffrey. I think you want to be a part of the 49ers offense. So if you can change him for McCaffrey straight up, I'm cool with that. If you can go and if you want a 2-for-1 for him, you want 2 players back for Saquon Barkley, maybe you could get like a Tony Pollard and an Antonio Gibson, or a Ramondre Stevenson and an Antonio Gibson, or go get Kenneth Walker. I would be looking at guys that have less name value, and maybe you can get 2, or maybe you want to tack a receiver on there. I think essentially Barkley is equal to another top 5, top 10 running back. But if you want to get maybe an RB2 and maybe like a wide receiver with that, I think that's fair. We're going Godwin. I like Godwin's matchup against Cleveland. We're going to go George Pickens here. I'm excited about Mike White coming to the offense, but I think Pickens, he's on our good circle of trust. So we're going to go with George. It could happen. He hasn't been getting catches lately, so he's totally touchdown dependent. So that makes me a little bit nervous. St. Brown or Gabe Davis, non-PPR. Because it's non-PPR, I'm going to lean with Gabe Davis. I think the yardage output could be similar for both. It's easy. I'm in raw in a PPR. He would get more catches. But one who has the better chance to score a touchdown, that's probably Gabe Davis. So I'll go with Gabe. Let's see. Pick 2 out of 3. DK, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. That's tough. Whew. I mean, all 3 of those guys are pretty good plays this week. In terms of the matchups here, you have Seattle going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's a good matchup here for DK Metcalf. Mike Evans going up against Cleveland. That is a solid matchup here. And then Amari Cooper going up against Tampa Bay. I think I'm going to rank them Amari, DK, Mike Evans. You're in a good spot though, man. That's a tough question. I think we'll go with DK and Amari Cooper. And yeah, man, I hope everyone has a great holiday. Hopefully we get some good games. Hopefully you guys enjoy your meals, and everyone has a great holiday weekend here, man. I'm excited, looking forward to the weekend. Jimmy G or Kirk Cousins? I'm going to go with Jimmy G. It's a tough matchup for Kirk Cousins. I know it's at home against the Patriots, but the Patriots, one of the better teams here. They're only allowing about 15 points per game with the quarterback. The Saints, a little bit juicier here. They're allowing them a little over 17 points per game. And if you look on like a the whole level here. So this is the fantasy points allowed chart. The Patriots, the best team, like they allow the fewest points per game in a fantasy matchup to all the positions, whereas the Saints, good defense, but you can see their weak spot is the QB. So I'm going to go with Jimmy G and all those weapons he's got. Would you rank these in order? Taysom, Hurst, Kmet. Taysom, Hurst, or Kmet? I do not trust Taysom Hill. I think he's the clear last placed guy here. I don't like praying for touchdowns here. He had a good game, like the 9 carries for 52 and the 1 for 8. Maybe he's on a spike here, but he's getting San Francisco and Tampa Bay the next couple weeks. He's going to get Philadelphia week 17, a tough matchup there. But weeks 15 and 16 are the matchups. But I'm not a fan of Taysom Hill. I wish he had more of a role. Cole Kmet, I'm probably going to say Kmet, Hurst, Taysom Hill. That's probably where we'll stand. Kmet's been fine. I think he's got a 6 to 8 point floor going forward, and hopefully he can keep catching touchdowns. Start Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown and Pollard or Aaron Jones, both PPR. Oh, man, you guys got good teams. That's a good team. That's a really strong team. Between Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown, it's a tough matchup for AJB. It's also a tough matchup for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think in terms of projections, Amon-Ra definitely has a safer floor. He's up here at about 16.5 projected points. A.J. Brown, though, going up against Green Bay, I kind of want to go with A.J. Brown over Amon-Ra. And then Pollard or Aaron Jones. The projections are in Aaron Jones's favor. I think he's going to get more touches. So I'm going to go with both guys in the Sunday night football game, A.J. Brown and Aaron Jones. But if you go the opposite of what I said, like you're in a good spot there. I think both guys are in good shape. Jamal White, Murray Christian, I have that claim in for Carter dropping White. What happens if that goes through? Michael Carter should be started. If that's who you get, I'm fine with that. I do like Rashad White. Maybe Aiden, we'll change that. Maybe just dump Latavius Murray, get out of the Broncos offense, pick up Carter, drop Latavius Murray. Maybe that's the better way to do it. Michael Carter or St. Brown PPR. It's a really good matchup for Carter, especially with Mike White going up against the Bears, but I think you got to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Pickett, Sam Darnold, or Mike White. Oh, that's a dirty one. That's a dirty one, Harris. Pickett, Sam Darnold. It's not Sam Darnold. I'm kind of open to Mike White, man. Giving some juice to that Chicago or to that Jets offense, that could be kind of fun. The Bears are pretty stingy, though, against opponent quarterbacks, and the Colts are as well, but you can see they have a little bit of a green space there. I'm going to say Kenny Pickett on Monday Night Football. Otherwise, it's Mike White. Pat's defense for weeks now. That being so the defenses you want this week, I mean, if you can hold them, I would hold on to them. They're a good defense. I trust them. But clearly the best defense this week is the Chiefs. If they're available, go ahead and pick them up. I do like Miami. I like San Francisco. They're probably rostered. I like Denver a lot. I think the Jets, with an injured Justin Fields, the Jets are a good one. Dallas probably already owned. Carolina is right there. If that's your best available, I'm fine with Carolina. But otherwise, maybe Washington should be picked up. Maybe Indianapolis should be picked up. My bad. My question was rest of season. Let me go back here. Rest of season? I'll stick with that. I still think Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson's pretty fun. DK Metcalf, I like that. And then Mike Evans. Mike Evans hasn't really been catching touchdowns lately. Bucks offense hasn't been looking good lately either. I'm going to go with DK and Amari still in that question there. Noah Fant or Evan Ingram PPR. Noah Fant or Evan Ingram full PPR. The Raiders do allow points to the tight end, and Noah Fant has been decent of late here. You have Jacksonville going up against the Ravens. It's kind of a tougher matchup, but they have allowed 5 touchdowns on the year. But the Raiders, they've allowed 50 catches, 500 yards. I think I'm going to roll with Noah Fant. Pickett or Taylor Heineke. We're going to go with Taylor Heineke. It's a good matchup against Atlanta. Atlanta allows, I think, the most points to the QB. Let me see. They're up here. They've allowed a lot of points to the QB, so it's a good spot. I'll go with Taylor Heineke. What's going on, man? 4 and 7. Our lineup is Hurts, Barkley, Jones, Olave, Evans, Kmet, Gibson, Commanders. Benches Mike Williams, Sutton, Zeke, Tony Pacheco. Who should I trade for? I think right now, if you can try and send, let's see here, to make this lineup better, you need a tight end that's more dependable. But at this point right now, if you can send Cortland Sutton and Isaiah Pacheco for a stud player, or maybe if you could maybe swing Antonio Gibson and Cortland Sutton for a stud, I would be looking at that. With your situation, you need starting players. So we're gonna try and upgrade someone in your starting lineup, even if you can get rid of Evans or I would try and pair Evans with Pacheco or Sutton with Pacheco. See if you can get a stud, even if it's. I'd even be open to trading Saquon Barkley away. If you could send Barkley and Sutton and try and get Christian McCaffrey or something like that, I think I'm open to that. So I'd be looking at doing a 2-for-1. Try and include Barkley and a receiver in your deal, or one of the receivers, Sutton with like a Pacheco or something. Try and send an RB and a receiver for a stud RB or a receiver. I'm writing the Ravens D and Joey Sly. Interesting, Joey Sly. So it sounds like Justin Fields is going to play. The report there. So he describes his left shoulder as basically an AC joint injury. It was described to me on Monday as a dislocation that can cause torn ligaments. I thought I saw some positivity here. It doesn't sound like they're ruling him out. I'm waiting to see the practice reports here. But if there's a better tight end, like if you can get Logan Thomas this week, I'd rather play Logan Thomas. Let me show you projections here. Go get Jawan Johnson. Go get Logan Thomas. You know, these guys have good matchups this week over Cole Kmet. That's where I would ride. Even Foster Moreau, he's going up against the 31st ranked Seattle Seahawks. Moreau's in a good spot, so I'll say Moreau, Jawan, Logan Thomas. Those guys are all better than Cole Kmet this week. St. Brown and Mike Evans, full PPR. St. Brown in the full PPR, no problem. James Robinson or Gus Edwards. I don't know if Gus Edwards is going to play, get the hamstring. I don't trust it. I'm going to go James Robinson, but it's pretty ugly for both guys. Ooh, Moreau, Kmet, or Logan Thomas. That's a good one because we just talked about all these guys. I think it's Moreau just because he's kind of the second number 3. He's the second or the third target in that offense. With Thomas, finally a good game last week. He finally came around. He's got a great matchup against Atlanta. He saw 6 targets, 5 for 65. He's getting back integrated into the offense. So I like the spot here. I'm not doing Kmet. It's either Moreau or Logan Thomas. I'm going to slightly lean with Moreau. Sly since Heineke became the starter. Been going crazy. Yeah, the Washington Commanders offense has been pretty hot. But anyways, we're over a half an hour. I can take another couple questions if you guys need them. Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. The rest of the week, I'm not going to be able to do any live streams. But you guys can always comment here if you need me. Follow me on Twitter. Check us out on TikTok. That's where all the questions can be getting answered there. So let's see if we got one more here. Mike Evans or Michael Carter, full PPR. It's probably Michael Carter. I think he's in for a really safe floor of 6-7 catches. I do like Mike Evans going up against Cleveland. It's always tough to sit Mike Evans. It doesn't make sense, looking at the name weight, Mike Evans or Michael Carter. But Carter is super safe right now. My only hesitation is Mike Evans coming off a bye. He hasn't scored a touchdown in a while. So if you need a safe play, it's Carter. If you're looking for a big upside game, I think it's Evans. Is Tony Pollard top 5 rest of the season? Who should I trade Pollard for after looking at my team? Pollard's not top 5 rest of season. He's maybe top 12, top 15. Like I wouldn't list him as a running back 1 quite yet. Like he's right there though. He's really, really close. If you're trying to flip him, you have him on that team. If you're trying to flip him, again, if you could pair Tony Pollard with a Cortland Sutton, go and get a stud. Try and go get the Christian McCaffrey owner might be a little disgruntled about how it's been lately. Try and go find those top 5, top 10 players that people are willing to get rid of. If you're sending them a 2-for-1, Tony Pollard and Sutton, Tony Pollard and Mike Evans, something like that, I think can get you a pretty good deal. So look into, guys that I think people are looking at maybe top 5, top 10, and they're not feeling great about them. Sure, I'm fine with that. I don't think you want two Broncos, so Olave is the best option of the three. Go ahead and do it. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'm glad I was able to do this live stream in the afternoon. Last question, Michael Carter. Michael Carter. Yeah, we're not doing David Montgomery. In a full PPR, it's always Michael Carter. I'm trying to get Pollard. Who should I trade for? Got it. We're trying to get Tony Pollard here. I mean, if you can send Saquon Barkley and get Pollard plus an extra piece, I would do it, man. I I like Saquon Barkley a lot. There's signs of wear and tear. The Giants offense has a tough schedule coming up. They're going to play Washington and Philadelphia coming up. They play Washington twice. So it's a tough schedule for Barkley. And I even like I think right now, like if you just leave Aaron Jones and Pollard in there at your running backs, I think that's great. But I think I would try and swap out Barkley or Aaron Jones. And if you can get Pollard plus, whether that's another wide receiver, another running, something like that. You're 4-7, but man, your lineup is so good. I think you need to try and send 2-for-1s. You might even be able to do a couple. Try and get the best players that you can. Because basically your season, you have 3 weeks to get this thing done. So I would try a couple 2-for-1s where you get the best player in the deal. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you guys all have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you on the other side. Good luck, guys. Peace.